For episode 2, we're going to look at this Radio Shack TRS-80 Color Computer 2 that has been sitting dormant on my shelf. I've put the CoCo 2 on my bench here, and I'm going to go through and wipe it really good. Surprisingly, it's clean, even though it's been sitting on the shelf, but still going to wipe it down. A little bit of dust is showing up on the baby wipes. If you'll recall in episode 1, I talked about how I use baby wipes to clean color computers. Really good way of doing it. The moisture picks up the dust and the dirt and the grime really well. I've turned over the CoCo 2, and now I'm going to take the screwdriver and remove the screws. I'll start with the shorter 2 screws on the bottom portion here. I'm having a bit of trouble getting these screws out of the holes because of the fact that the screwdriver is not magnetized. So I'll go ahead and unscrew these holes and come back with the magnetizer to take care of that little problem. I'm going to use a handy little magnetizing device to magnetize the screw. You just insert it in there, and then now I'll pick up each screw that was unscrewed earlier from the holes. All 4 of these are the long variants, and put them aside. With the screws out, I'm going to turn the CoCo 2 back over, and I will lift the case. It comes right off. Looks good. Fairly clean on the inside, as you can see. And then I will take the keyboard off. This is a regular CoCo 2 travel up-down keyboard on most of the newer CoCo 2s. And we'll take a look at the bottom of the case. With the stickers in view, we can see that the model number of this Color Computer 2 is 26-3136, and the serial number is 2002015. This was a product that was made in Korea, as you can see there at the lower left-hand sticker. A note about these types of CoCos: sometime around 1984, Tandy moved the manufacturing of CoCo 2s to the Republic of Korea and kept them there for a while. This coincides with a newer style motherboard that I suspect this CoCo 2 has, and we'll take a look at that shortly to see. The smaller size of this motherboard, as well as the placement of the chips on it, tell me that this is definitely a Korean-made model. The revision code is 202-61043, which is one of the later Korean models that were made, and it speaks to the interesting variations in Color Computer 2 motherboards. In fact, that series has the most variations of any other color computer when it comes to types of motherboards. The RAM on this motherboard is located at the bottom right, and there are 8 RAM chips, indicating this is a 64K color computer. At the upper right of the motherboard, next to the 6809 CPU, are 2 24-pin ROMs, one for Color Basic and one for Extended Color Basic. So this points to the fact that this CoCo was probably manufactured to sell either as an extended machine or a regular Color Basic machine. The 6847 VDG video display generator appears to be the older pre-T1, so it probably does not have the true lowercase. Given the shape that this motherboard is in, it's very clean. I would be surprised if it didn't turn on right away when I powered it up. So that's what we're going to do next. I'll put everything back together and we'll give it a spin. As I'm putting this CoCo 2 back together, I want to note the positions of the screws as I place them. Again, the 2 shorter screws go at the very bottom near the front of the computer, and the longer 4 screws go at the top and in the middle parts. I'm alternating, tightening up the screws in each hole, and we're done. This CoCo came right up, so I'm going to type DOS to boot into Nitrous 9 over drive wire at 57.6 kilobits per second. As you can see, this CoCo 2 does not have a lowercase VDG chip. The lowercase characters are rendered in inverse video. But it is booting up, so the bit banger works. We can type a few OS 9 commands to verify that things look good, and indeed they do. As I did in the previous episodes, I'm going to run a couple of programs just to test out this CoCo. I'll first C-load a basic program called Joy Test that I wrote. I will use Sound Studio on my Mac to load that in over the cassette cable, run the program, and I'm moving the 2 Black Beauty joysticks that are hooked to the left and right joystick port of this CoCo 2. They both seem to be providing decent values, good response as I move them around. So I'm pretty satisfied that the joystick ports on this particular CoCo 2 work okay. I'll load in a game next just to make sure. Next I'll load in a machine language game called Centipede. Make sure that it works right, and I'll use Sound Studio to deliver that code over to the CoCo 2 using the cassette cable that's hooked up via my Mac. I'll execute it, and it looks like the game is indeed working. I'm moving the joystick around, shooting up some centipedes and mushrooms, and trying to avoid the spider. Nice. Alright, so it looks like this CoCo 2 is working fine. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. As an addendum to this episode, I'd like to point out that there was something unusual, indeed wrong, about this particular CoCo 2. I caught it about midway during the filming of the episode, and then I fixed it. If you think you know what it is, post down in the comments below. The first person who figures it out gets a free CoCo item in the mail, compliments of the CoCo Collector.